Mama Ejide sat on the cold floor of her small mud house, tears dropping into the empty plate before her. Her stomach growled again, but there was nothing to silence it. No yam, no garri, not even a pinch of salt. Her 3 children lay on the torn mat, weak and tired from hunger. She looked at their faces and felt like a failure. Her husband had died many years ago, and since then, life had beaten her like a drum. The neighbors had stopped helping her, saying she always begged. She prayed every night, but the sky stayed quiet. She fasted, but no miracle came. She felt forgotten, useless, and cursed. That evening, when her last child cried out in hunger, something in Mama Ejide snapped. She stood up, walked outside barefoot, and looked at the sky with anger. If God won't help me, maybe someone else will, she said with a voice full of pain. She remembered an old woman people feared in the village I one day said could talk to spirits. They called her a witch. That night, Mama Ejide tied her wrapper tightly and walked into the forest. I want money, she said, with tears and fire in her voice. Any amount. I'm tired of begging. I'm tired of suffering. The old woman smiled, her eyes red like fire. You will get your wish, she whispered, but your soul will never be yours again. Inside the dark hut, Olugun lit a black candle. The flame danced like it was alive. She poured powder into the fire, and the smoke turned purple. Mama Ejide watched with fear and curiosity. Are you ready to give everything? The old woman asked. Even your soul? Mama Ejide didn't answer at first. Then she looked at her hands, thin, rough, tired. She remembered her children crying and nodded. Yes, I will give anything. Ogun brought out a small wooden box and opened it. Inside was a sharp blade, a black feather, and a piece of red cloth. Cut your palm and swear, she said. Mama Ejide obeyed. She cut her hand, the blood dropped on the cloth, and she spoke the words the woman told her. Suddenly the wind began to blow inside the room, but the windows were shut. The candle flame turned blue. A deep voice spoke from the shadows, but no mouth moved. Ejide, your riches will come, but your joy will never stay. Mama Ejide felt a sharp pain in her chest, like something had entered her. Then the pain stopped, and her eyes turned black for a moment. Olugun smiled and handed her a necklace made of bones. Wear this. You will never be poor again. By the next morning, Mama Ejide woke up in her old house, but something had changed. Her eyes were clearer, her heart was colder, and outside her house, 3 bags of money sat waiting. The village woke up in shock. People gathered in front of Mama Ejide's house, whispering and pointing. Some said it was a miracle, others said it was juju. But Mama Ejide came out smiling, wearing a new wrapper, gold bangles, and a fresh jelly on her head. She no longer looked like the woman who used to beg for food. She gave money to people like water. She bought bags of rice and gave them to the poor. Everyone praised her. God has done it for you, they said. But she just smiled quietly. Deep inside, she knew it wasn't God that answered her. It was something else. Something dark. Mama Ejide built a big house in less than 2 months. She bought a car and employed house help. Her children started going to the best school. Everything she wanted, she got. But at night, when everyone slept, she would sit outside and cry. She heard strange whispers in the wind. Sometimes she saw shadows moving in her mirror. She started having dreams of fire, blood, and crying babies. She told herself it was just her mind playing tricks, but the voice in her head reminded her, your joy will never stay. And it was right. Because one night, her first child screamed in his sleep and never woke up again. The whole village cried. People came with flowers and prayers. Mama Ejide buried her son in a golden coffin, but her heart was broken. She stood beside the grave, her eyes dry. No tears came out. It was like her heart had turned to stone. That night, she locked herself in her room and looked at the necklace Olugun gave her. It felt heavier. darker. She took it off and threw it under her bed, but it came back to her neck by morning. She rushed back to the forest. "You didn't tell me this would happen," she shouted. But the old woman only laughed. "Riches come with a price, my child. Did you think you were playing with sand?" Ogun told her that each blessing would take something dear from her. The spirit that gave her money also fed on her happiness. "You have tasted blood money," the old woman said. "It will keep taking until there's nothing left," Mama Ejide begged. But it was too late. She had made her vow. She returned home and sat alone, her heart empty. Her children avoided her now. They were scared of her eyes, her voice. The house suddenly went cold. One child dead, two left, and the spirit was not done yet. Strange things began to happen in the mansion. Walls started to bleed. Mirrors cracked for no reason. The house help left one after the other, saying the house was cursed. Mama Ejide's remaining children started falling sick. One night, the youngest one shouted, "There's a man in my room. He has no eyes." Mama Ejide rushed in, but the room was empty. She sat on the floor and cried, "Please take the money. Leave my family alone," she screamed into the air. But the spirit didn't want the money. It wanted her peace, her soul, her love, piece by piece. She began to visit churches and native doctors, searching for help, but nothing worked. One prophet told her, "You have danced with the devil. Only the devil can stop the music now." She knew she couldn't run from it. Each time she tried to give out all her riches, the money would return in double. She burned her car, it reappeared. She gave out her jewelry, new ones showed up. The spirit was showing her, "You belong to me now." One night, Mama Ejide had a dream so real. She woke up shaking. In the dream, she stood in a market, and everyone around her had no face. They all pointed at her and chanted, "Thief! Thief of peace!" Suddenly, the ground broke open, and fire poured out. Then a voice said, "This is the price." She woke up with burns on her legs, real burns. The doctors couldn't explain it. From that day, she stopped sleeping. Every time she closed her eyes, she entered a world where spirits cried and hands pulled her down. Her children grew weaker. The younger one stopped speaking. The older girl started cutting her hair and talking to herself. Mama Ejide took her to a hospital, but the doctor said nothing was wrong. She knew better. The spirit was eating her children like meat. One morning, she woke up to find a warning written on her mirror with red liquid. One more to go. She knew then that one child would die again, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. From that day, Mama Ejide began to see the spirit. It no longer hid. It stood at the corner of her room at night, tall, dark, and smiling. It wore a crown of bone and had no eyes, but it could see everything. When she prayed, it laughed. When she cried, it grew taller. She begged it, tried to bribe it, even tried to curse it, but nothing worked. It was now part of her, like her shadow. Wherever she went, it followed. She stopped leaving the house. She stopped answering visitors. She even stopped eating. Her mansion turned into a prison. Her daughter started bleeding from her ears every night. The doctor said it was spiritual. How can we help her? They asked. Mama Ejide had no answer. The voice in her head returned, the same voice from the night she made the vow. "I gave you gold. Now I take what I want." She began to understand she didn't just sell her soul. She rented her bloodline. Desperate, Mama Ejide went back to Un's hut. She fell on her knees, crying, "Please, take the money back. Let me have my children." But the old woman shook her head. "You already paid the price," she said. "The only way to stop it is to give it something greater than your soul." Mama Ejide looked confused. "What can be greater than a soul?" she asked. The old woman whispered, "Your own life." Mama Ejide sat there for hours, thinking, could she really die to save her daughter? She loved her children, but fear held her like a chain. She wasn't ready to die. The spirit gave her 7 days. On the 7th day, If she didn't make the sacrifice, her second child would die. The old woman gave her a mirror to watch the countdown every night. One side of the mirror turned red. When it became fully red, the spirit would collect again. Mama Ejide went home with the mirror in her hand, her heart beating like a drum. Each night, she sat watching it, afraid to close her eyes. The seventh night came. The mirror turned fully red. Mama Ejide begged the spirit again, but it didn't speak this time. It only smiled. At 3 a.m., the wind in the house grew strong. Doors slammed shut. Lights flickered. Her daughter screamed, shaking in her bed. Mama Ejide held her tight, shouting prayers, crying, begging, but it was too late. The girl's body went still. Her last breath sounded like a whisper. "Mama, help me!" The spirit stood at the door and bowed. Then it disappeared. The next morning, Mama Ejide buried her second child. The whole village was silent. Nobody dared come close anymore. People said she was cursed. Some even called her a witch. The mansion felt like a graveyard. Only her last child remained the quiet boy who no longer smiled. Mama Ejide looked at him and saw fear in his eyes. The spirit would come again. And this time, she knew he would be next. The bone necklace around Mama Ejide's neck began to tighten every night like a snake. She tried to pull it off, but it wouldn't move. Her skin under it turned black. The spirits had marked her fully now. The house smelled like smoke and death. People stopped passing her street. Even birds stopped flying above her roof. Her son stayed in one room, quiet and pale, drawing strange symbols on the wall. Sometimes he spoke in a voice that wasn't his. Mama Ejide knew it was the spirit speaking through him. "You still owe me," the voice said. She stood in front of her mirror and saw herself rich, dressed in gold, but dead inside. Her face looked older, tired, hollow. She had everything but nothing. She held a knife one night, ready to end it all. But her son walked in and hugged her. "Don't go," he whispered. That moment broke her. She fell on the floor, crying like a baby. She knew what she had to do. She had to give the spirit what it wanted her life to save her only child. Mama Ejide began to prepare for her death. She went to the market for the first time in weeks. She bought white cloths, palm oil, native chalk, and bitter kola, things needed for a ritual burial. The sellers looked at her with fear. Nobody wanted to talk to her, but she didn't care. Her only goal now was to save her last child. When she returned home, she bathed him, fed him, and told him stories of when they were poor but happy. "Do you remember how we used to share one cup of garri?" she asked, smiling through her tears. The boy nodded weakly. He didn't understand everything, but he knew something was wrong. That night, she didn't sleep. She cleaned the house, lit candles, and placed the mirror from Olugun in the middle of the room. She put the necklace on the table. "If this is how I live, let it be on my own terms," she said. The spirit appeared at midnight. Its face was clearer now, a mix of many crying souls. It opened its arms, ready to take. "Wait," Mama Ejide said. "Let me speak to you, not as your servant, but as a mother." The spirit paused. It had never seen her like this. She was not begging. She was not afraid. She was ready. She asked the spirit to take her life and leave her son forever. No more pain, no more games. "He is innocent," she said. "He didn't sign anything." The spirit moved closer and touched her forehead. "A soul for a soul," it whispered. "But you must agree to enter the forest of lost voices, never to return." She didn't even blink. "Yes," she said. "I agree." A cold wind blew, and the candles went out. The spirit gave her a small cup filled with thick black liquid. "Drink. Your journey begins now." As she lifted the cup, her son walked in. "Mama, no," he cried. But she smiled at him and said, "You must live. Be better than me. Don't chase riches. Chase peace." She drank it all. Her body shook. Her skin turned cold. But her face was calm. The spirit picked her up like a baby and walked into the mirror. The glass melted like water. When the boy ran to touch it, the mirror went blank. His mother was gone. The moment Mama Ejide disappeared into the spirit world, the house became quiet, very quiet. The heavy air lifted, the bleeding walls dried up, the shadows faded. Her son sat alone, shaking. He looked around, waiting for the spirit to return, but it didn't. Instead, warm light filled the room. The bone necklace on the table cracked and turned to ash. The curse was broken. That night, the boy slept peacefully for the first time in months. No screams, no spirits, just silence and stars. In the spirit world, Mama Ejide walked among millions of souls. Some wept, some laughed madly, some had no faces, but she walked proudly. She had made a choice. She gave her life to save her child. The spirit that once haunted her now bowed to her. "You are not mine anymore," it said. "You are beyond my reach." She smiled. Even in the land of the dead, she had found something like peace. Word spread quickly. People in the village said the curse had ended. Some called it a miracle. Others said Mama Ejide was a strong woman, braver than most men. Her house was turned into a shrine where women came to pray. Her story became a warning. Riches without peace is a curse. Some greedy villagers who had planned to visit Ologun changed their minds. They remembered Mama Ejide and turned back. Her name became a lesson. Her son was taken in by the village chief. He grew up quiet but wise. He told nobody what truly happened that night. He only said, "My mother fought for me." Every year on her death day, he visited the shrine and poured water on the ground. "Thank you, Mama," he always whispered. "You gave me life twice." Years passed. The mansion was still there, but now dusty and closed. One day, the grown-up son of Mama Ejide returned to clean it. As he entered the room where his mother had disappeared, he found something strange. On the table where the necklace once turned to ash, it was there again. Whole, clean, new. He stepped back in fear. The air turned cold. A soft voice whispered, "You are her blood." But this time, he did not run. He picked the necklace, walked outside, and threw it into the fire. "The chain ends with me," he said. The flames roared high, and the wind blew, but the necklace burned. For the first time in many years, the land felt truly free. Mama Ejide's sacrifice had not only saved her son, it broke the curse forever. Even after the necklace was burnt, people in the village still whispered. Some feared that the spirit might return. Some said they still saw shadows in the trees near Mama Ejide's house at night. But her son, now a man, was no longer afraid. He stayed strong. He visited the shrine every week and poured water in her name. One evening, while walking home, he saw an old woman in rags by the roadside. She looked weak and hungry. Many people passed her, but he stopped and gave her food. The woman looked into his eyes and said, "Your mother paid a price many will never understand. You must never walk her path." Before he could ask who she was, she vanished. He looked around, confused. Olugun. Was it the spirit or just a test? That night, he had a dream. His mother stood beside a big river, smiling. "Keep your heart clean," she said. "Money is sweet, but peace is sweeter." When he woke up, he decided to live a simple life. He would never touch blood money. 1 year later, a girl in the village also became poor. Her father died, her mother was sick, and they had no food. One night, she ran into the forest crying. That was when she met a voice. "I can help you," it said. She turned and saw a small hut. Inside was a woman with red eyes and white hair. The girl was scared, but she was also desperate. The ghost smiled and held out the same bone necklace. "Your pain can end tonight," she said. But the girl had heard the story of Mama Ejide. She stepped back and shouted, "I don't want your kind of help." Then she ran back home. She told the village chief, who sent people to block the forest road. They burned herbs and poured salt on the path. That night, the spirit screamed from inside the trees, but he could not come out. The land had changed. People were no longer blind to quick wealth. They remembered Mama Ejide. The story of Mama Ejide was passed down from house to house. Grandmothers told it at night. Fathers warned their sons. Mothers warned their daughters. Don't sell your peace for money, they would say. Don't end like the woman who cried diamonds and bled gold. Her name became both a warning and a prayer. May we never forget Mama Ejide, people said when counting their blessings. Even in other villages, people heard of her. Her son grew into a strong man. He opened a small school and gave free lessons to poor children. My mother didn't go to school, he would say, but her pain taught us all. Whenever anyone offered him fast money, he smiled and said, I am my mother's son. I fear no hunger, but I fear evil riches. As years passed, the forest where A. Olugun once lived became dry and quiet. No more voices, no more whispers. The hut broke down. Trees grew over it. Birds came back. Children began playing near the edge without fear. The spirit no longer had power. Mama Ejide's sacrifice had closed the door between the spirit world and the living world. People could now chase success without walking the dark path. The boy, now an old man, stood in front of the forest one last time. He smiled and said, You tried to break us, but we survived. Then he turned back and walked home. That night, he dreamed again. His mother sat in a chair, dressed in white, her face glowing. She said, I'm proud of you. That was all. He woke up with tears in his eyes. The nightmare was over. The spirit was gone. Many years later, people still tell the story of the woman who sold her soul for wealth. They say she was brave. They say she made a mistake, but she paid the price. Her life became a lesson for thousands. Some say she walks in dreams to warn those planning to take the same path. Some say her soul now rests in peace. But everyone agrees on one thing. Peace is better than riches without rest. Love is better than gold with blood. And a mother's love can break any curse